Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to your channel The Anatomy Canvas. In today's class we are going to do the slide preparation for the block F, that is endocrine system and reproductive system, and this is your first class, and inshallah in the two parts we will complete the whole slide preparation class. So first of all, this is the first diagram. This is the diagram of the ovary, a complete view of the ovary at a lower magnification. In this diagram you can see this is the outer layer which is lined by the germinal epithelium. Just beneath germinal epithelium there is dense irregular connective tissue called the tunica albuginea, and then this whole area is the cortex and inner area is the medulla, in which you can see blood vessels are also present. So this is a higher magnification through cortex of the ovary. Again you can see here the germinal epithelium, then the tunica albuginea, and then the pool of the primordial follicles which are present over here. And here you can also see some primary follicles are also present in this area. So in the center of the primary follicle you can see oocyte is present, which are surrounded by the follicular cells. Now these all are the areas of the cortex in which you can see different other follicles growing in different stages. So further higher magnification through the cortex of the ovary. So first the germinal epithelium, then the tunica albuginea, and then the pool of the primordial follicles. Here you can see the primary follicles, the oocyte which is present in this primary, surrounded by zona pellucida, and then the layer of the follicular cells which are present over here. Again other primary follicle, another primary follicle, another primary follicle in different stages, and this may be the corpus luteum which is in stages of degeneration, and the connective tissue present in between these growing follicles. So another diagram through the follicle, in which you can see this is the large follicle, maybe the Graffian follicle, but in the section you can't see the oocyte which is not present in the section, and in the center you can see the antral fluid is present, and surrounding the antral fluid are the granulosa cells are present, and then the theca cells are present. So these two are the follicles which may be Graffian follicle, whose oocyte is not taken into this section, and in the center you can see the antral cavity with the antral fluid. This is all the cortex, where you can see pool of the primordial follicle, the epithelium, the tunica albuginea, and here you can see the medulla of the ovary. Another section of at the higher magnification, the same slide you can see this is the antral follicle. In the center of the antral follicle you can see the antrum which is filled with the antral fluid, and then these cells are the granulosa cells which are surrounding the antral fluid, and outer to these cells are the theca cells which are present over here. Again theca cells have two layers, inner cellular layer which is called theca interna, and outer layer which is connective tissue called theca externa, which merges with the connective tissue of the ovaries. Another section of the ovary, again you can see the epithelium, the connective tissue, the pool of primordial follicles, then some growing follicles, maybe the secondary follicle containing the antral space, antral fluid in it, surrounded by the granulosa cells. Another follicle which may be primary follicle, the connective tissue is present over here, and these two are the Graffian follicles. So another diagram to the ovary, here you can see the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum is formed after the ovulation, and luteinization of the cells occur as a result of which the granulosa lutein cells and theca lutein cells are formed. So inner cells are the granulosa lutein cells, and outer cells are the theca lutein cells which are present outer to granulosa cells. Again another slide to the corpus luteum, in which you can see the granulosa lutein cells present in corpus luteum. So these are the luteal cells which are present. Another slide through the corpus luteum. This area is the corpus luteum. Here you can see the largest cells. These are the granulosa lutein cells which are present, and surrounding are the theca lutein cells. So another slide of the ovary, in which you can see a complete ovarian follicle with the oocyte present over here, surrounding cumulus oophorus cells, then the antrum containing antral fluid, then this is the granulosa cell layer, and outer to this is the theca cell layer. These three are also the Graafian follicles, but in these three Graafian follicle, oocytes are not taken into section like this, and this area is the medulla of the ovary, and here you can see the cortex of the ovary. Another section at higher magnification to the medulla of the ovary, where you can see the spaces which are present, and these different blood vessels are present. Here you can see a section of the corpus luteum. Here again you can see a section of the corpus luteum. Another beautiful slide through the Graafian follicle. Here you can see the oocyte which is present, surrounded by the zona pellucida, and then the cumulus oophorus cells which are present over here. Another beautiful slide through the Graafian follicle. You can see the oocyte surrounded by the zona pellucida, then the cumulus oophorus cells, then the granulosa cells. Outer to granulosa are the theca cells, and here you can see the antral fluid which is present in the antrum. Another slide with the trichrome stain. You can see the two Graafian follicles which are present. Oocyte is not taken into section. This is the antral space, and then the granulosa cell layer and the theca cell layer. And here you can see some atretic corpus luteum called corpus atreticum, which show atresial changes in it, atretic changes in it. Another diagram with the trichrome stain. This is the corpus luteum, and in this corpus luteum you can see the center of the corpus luteum. The inner cells are the granulosa lutein cells, and outer are theca lutein cells. Another section through the corpus luteum. Here you can see this is the corpus luteum, and these two are the Graafian follicles which are present. Another slide at 10x magnification of the corpus luteum, and surrounding is the ovarian cortex. Another slide, here you can see the corpus luteum as well as the Graafian follicles, one with oocyte, and these three in which the oocyte is not taken into section. So now we move on to the uterine tube, and this section is taken through isthmus of the uterine tube. So please remember, through isthmus you can see the whole of the lumen of the uterine tube. The complete lumen can be seen in the slide. So this epithelium of the uterine tube is the simple columnar ciliated. Some cells are ciliated, some cells are not ciliated, surrounded by the muscularis layer and then the adventitia. This is the section taken through the intramural part of the uterine tube. Surrounding area shows the parts of the uterus. So this is intramural, also called the interstitial part of the uterine tube. This is the section taken through the ampullary part of the uterine tube. So you can see folding of the mucosa, highly folded mucosa, but usually complete lumen. There is a one lumen, but this lumen is shows branching because of the folding of the mucosa. And so outer to this mucosa is the muscular layer and then the adventitia. A very beautiful diagram through ampulla of the uterine tube with H&E stain. In this whole area you can see the epithelium is thrown into fold. These are the folds of the ampullary part, and outer to this mucosa is the muscular layer and then the adventitia. So again I repeat, the epithelium is simple columnar ciliated epithelium in uterine tube, and some cells are ciliated and some cells are non-ciliated. Again a beautiful slide through the ampulla of the uterine tube. You can see the folding of the ampulla the upfolding of the epithelium in the ampullary part, and then the outer muscular layer, and then the serosa. So this is again another section through ampulla. You can see the branching of the mucosa here, and lined by simple columnar epithelium. These all are the folds of the mucosa, and outer to this mucosa is muscular layer, and then the serosa. So this is again ampullary part of the uterine tube. Another slide through ampullary part of the uterine tube. Again you can see the highly folded mucosa surrounded by muscularis and serosa. Another slide of the uterine tube through fimbriated end. So here you cannot see complete lumen, it is divided, and at the fimbriated end you know that the ostium is present, and this end is responsible for capturing of the oocyte after the process of the ovulation. So here the epithelium is again simple columnar ciliated, partly non-ciliated, and outer to this epithelium small amount of lamina propria is present over here. So now we move on to the slides of the uterus. This is the first phase in the endometrial cycle, in which you can see this area is basically endometrium and this whole is the myometrium. So in this endometrium you can see here, you can see the epithelium is intact and the straight tubular glands are present. So this is the stratum functional, and then the stratum basal of the endometrium. This is the proliferative phase of uterus. Again, a very beautiful diagram through the uterus to the proliferative phase. So this whole is the endometrium. In this you can see this is the stratum functional, and this area is the stratum basal. Intact epithelium is present. Again I repeat, the epithelium in the uterus is simple columnar epithelium, and you can see large number of the straight tubular glands which are present over here. Same slide at higher magnification to show you that the epithelium is intact and the straight tubular glands are present in epithelium. This is again the proliferative phase of the uterine endometrium. Then the secretory phase of the uterine endometrium. So in secretory phase, lot of changes occur because of the progesterone. The glands become sacculated, they become corkscrew shape, their lamina become these sacculated, they accumulate the secretion. Also the stromal cells become edematous, and the secretions are present in the stromal cells. They become the decidual cells, so that the endometrium at this stage is prepared for the implantation of the embryo. So this is the uterus at the secretory phase, and for your identification you can see the corkscrew shape glands with the sacculated lamina over here. Again a beautiful diagram through secretory phase. Here you can see intact epithelium and the corkscrew shape gland. You can see also the edematous stroma is seen over here, and because the edema fluid is washed during the slide preparation, so empty appearance of the slide shows you that these decidual cells are edematous. Again a beautiful diagram through the glands in the secretory phase of the uterus. You can see these are the highly sacculated glands and surrounding connective tissue which is also edematous. Another slide of the uterus in the secretory phase, and these are all are the glands which are present. And another feature you can appreciate, these are the empty spaces which are present in this slide, and these empty spaces shows you the edema fluid which is being washed during slide preparation. So now we move on to the menstrual phase. In menstrual phase you can appreciate that the epithelium is broken. At certain places it is present and other places it is broken. Also you can see the glands are ruptured, the blood vessels are ruptured, and large number of RBCs are present in the fluid. So this is the phase in which the stratum functional is lost and stratum basal remains. Another slide through the uterine endometrium in the menstrual phase. So remember, this all is the myometrium. So for your identification, when you are looking at the diagram, first you will see the myometrium, and in myometrium you can see the large number of the smooth muscle cells which are running in different directions. Then you will change the field and you will search for the endometrium where it is present. So at certain corner you can see the endometrium, and then you will be able to identify the phase. So this is the menstrual phase, in which you can see the epithelium is lost, stratum functional is lost, and also the blood is present at certain places. So this is the slide with Mason's trichrome stain. Same slide at higher magnification. Here you can see the broken epithelium and glands and blood cells which are present, RBCs which are present in the spaces. Another slide of the uterus with H&E stain, and which you can see loss of epithelium and broken glands at certain places, and the fluid is stroma is edematous, and it also contains blood. So this is again slide in the menstrual phase of the uterus. Another slide through menstrual phase of the uterus, epithelium damage at multiple places, the edema is present, and certain places you can see RBCs are also present over here. So this is H&E stain section of the uterus through in the menstrual phase. Uterus in the menstrual phase, almost the same slide. The damaged epithelium, the broken glands, the broken blood vessels, and the RBCs present in the connective tissue, the stroma. A very beautiful diagram with the Mason's trichrome stain. Here you can see, here the epithelium is intact, but here it is lost. In this, so partly present and partly lost epithelium with damaged epithelium over here with the broken glands. Also large number of RBCs are present in these spaces. So this may be the start of the menstrual phase. So this is the diagram of the uterus at the 4x power, and this may be the slide of some lower vertebrate, because in lower vertebrate it is possible to see the whole lumen. Otherwise in humans you can't see the whole lumen in the microscope. So in this diagram you can see lumen, then the endometrium, then this whole is endometrium, then the myometrium, and then the perimetrium. So in this slide you can appreciate all of the layer of the uterus, and it is at lower magnification. So same slide at higher magnification, the lumen of the uterus, then this is the stratum, this is whole the endometrium. Here you can see the stratum basale and stratum functional. So this may be the proliferative phase, because the glands are the straight tubular over here. Same slide at higher magnification. Again you can see straight tubular glands which are present over here. So this is the proliferative phase of the uterus at 40x magnification. Now we move on to these slides of the vagina. Here you can see first identification point for the vagina is the epithelium. So please remember, whenever you are looking at the diagram and you identify the epithelium, that it is a stratified, squamous and non-keratinized type, then the vagina must be one of your diagnosis. Identification point will be the stratified, squamous, non-keratinized epithelium. And beneath the epithelium is the lamina propria, the two distinct layers of the lamina propria. Just beneath epithelium, the lamina propria is loose, which is highly cellular, and then the dense connective tissue, the lamina propria is denser, with a large number of the elastic fibers as well as large number of the blood vessels which are present over here. So this is the slide of the vagina at lower magnification. This is the slide of the vagina, again another slide and a beautiful slide. Easily you can identify the vagina slide. This is again at lower magnification. You can see this is epithelium, which is stratified, squamous, non-keratinized, and this all is the lamina propria. Then these are the muscle layer, the two muscle layers, and outer to this is the adventitia. So this is the slide of the vagina. Again, your identification point is the epithelium. Also remember, in mucosa of the vagina there are no glands, so please remember. Same slide at higher magnification, the epithelium. You can see the stratified squamous non-keratinized, beneath epithelium the loose connective tissue which is highly cellular, and then the next area of the connective tissue which is moderately dense, and then the smooth muscle cells which are present in the muscularis layer. Another slide taken through the vagina. This is the again epithelium, the lamina propria, and then the muscularis layer. So now we move on to the mammary gland. So please students, remember, mammary gland before the time of the pregnancy, it is not fully developed, and it mainly parenchyma mainly consists of small amount of the gland, and all of the mass of the mammary gland is formed by the connective tissue. So by comparing the glandular element to the connective tissue, we can identify this stage. First, looking at this diagram, you may have an idea that this is the diagram. So the dense irregular connective tissue with large number of the adipose cells. So yes, it is dense irregular connective tissue, but this is the slide of the mammary gland. Here you can see the glandular tissue is present, and proportion of glandular tissue to connective tissue is very small. So this is the mammary gland at the resting stage, and this is at lower magnification, the H and E stain section. This is again resting stage. This is the Mason's trichrome stain. Here you can see the glandular element present over here mainly consists of the ducts, and all this area is formed by the dense irregular connective tissue. Again, you can compare that the proportion of the dense irregular connective tissue is greater than that of the glandular tissue. So this is again the mammary gland in the resting stage. Same slide at higher magnification to show you the glandular tissue as well as the connective tissue which is present over here. Another slide of the mammary gland. Here you can see all of the field shows you the glandular element, and in the lumen of the glands, the lumen of the alveoli, you can see the secretory material is present over here. Also the secretory vesicles are present in the cells which line these acinas. So this is the mammary gland through the lactating stage. And same slide at higher magnification to show you the secretory products which are present in the center of the acini. Another slide of the mammary gland through the lactational phase. In this diagram, you can see large number of the glandular tissue is present, and proportion of the connective tissue to the glandular tissue is changed. You can see large number of the glandular tissue is present. Here you can see another duct is present. So this is the slide at lower magnification. Same slide at higher magnification to show you the glandular element. The slide quality is little bit poor, but you can appreciate the acini which are present over here, and in the center you can see a duct is present also. Another slide through lactating mammary gland, you can see large number of the acini or alveoli which are present with the secretory products in the lumen. So this all is the glandular tissue. Another slide through mammary gland at 4x power, and here you can see this is one of the lobule of the mammary gland. This is another lobule of the mammary gland, another lobule of the mammary gland. So in the lobules you can see connective tissue is loose, and outer to this is connective tissue is the dense irregular connective tissue. So you can see the proportion as well. The glandular tissue is also present, and large number of the connective tissue is also present. So this may be the slide at the end of the the lactation or after the lactation, in which the glandular tissue involutes but never comes back to the initial resting stage, that is before pregnancy. So this may be the slide which is taken at the end of the lactation. In the same slide at higher magnification, in which you can see the glandular tissue, also you can appreciate some secretory products are also present in the lumen of the acini, and this is the connective tissue. So again the active mammary gland. Same slide, through 10x multiplication you can see large number of the glandular tissue as well as the connective tissue and also the secretory products. So the active mammary gland in the secretory stage. This is again another trichrome stain section of the mammary gland in the resting stage, and you can see the proportion. These all are the glandular tissue, and this whole is the connective tissue with the adipose tissue present over here. So another beautiful and very clear diagram of the mammary gland in the lactating stage. This is the large number of the adipose tissue which is present. Here the glandular tissue is present in one lobule. Here is another lobule. Here you can see another lobule along with the duct. Here you can see a large size duct which is present. This duct also contains the secretory products. These acini also contain secretory products. This duct also contains the secretory products, and here in these acini you can also appreciate the secretory products. So this is again a very beautiful diagram in lactating stage of the mammary gland. Same slide at higher magnification to show you the duct, their secretory products, and then the secretory products in the acini, and this is the adipose tissue which is present. Even you can appreciate in this diagram the epithelium of the duct as well, which seems to be simple cuboidal over here. And here I complete my first class of the slide preparation for the endocrine and reproductive system. And thank you very much for your attention, and we will meet in the next class in part 2. We will complete the whole of the preparation for the block F. Thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz till the next class.